Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Get hyped, because in today's episode, we drink and discuss hype beers and the culture around them. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Yo!
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us.
You like that? Do you like my yo? I'm just finding I'm finding new ways to respond to your introduction of me and just seeing how you respond to them. So I was getting hyped.
Yeah, I'm glad you're hyped. You're making me drink Verdant tonight.
Yeah. So it's gonna be good, don't worry. But I also am rewarding you with a proper impy. So
yeah.
You don't have to worry. It's even Stevens. So yeah, this week hyped beers.
Beers.
The topic of hyped beers overall. And what I wanted to note as well is obviously what we're drinking tonight. Some of these were hyped beers way more closer to January than now. Yeah. And we're recording this in March, and this should be coming out relatively soon. So I thought it would be ironic actually for us to record it. I mean, it didn't purposely happen this far after we got it, but I also kind of thought the irony behind it is really funny. Have you got these hyped beers, and does anyone even think about some of these anymore?
Well, I think they do with the notorious Putty. I think people are always talking about that one. And I mean, I don't know what you've got to talk about it later, but I know last year's release, a lot of people sat on it for a while, didn't they, before they opened it?
Yeah.
And I have thoughts on that, but I'll save that for when we're talking.
Save that for later. But basically, yeah. So we've got to actually drink tonight. We've got two from Verdant. So we've got Putty and Don't Tell Gus. And I like the label on Don't Tell Gus. It's very
the label's fun.
It's nice. I also, what I'm going to have afterwards as well, just to see, is I've also got Fruit Cast Site Exhibition. But the other one that we're going to drink together is the Vocation in Pomona Island Imperial Mocha. So what I was referring to really was kind of Putty's quieted down now, but people are still talking about it. Don't Tell Gus, people talk about, but I wouldn't say that they are like, oh my god, you have to get your hands on this. It's just, I had this, which is a staple, it's good and everything. But the Vocation in Pomona, I remember when this first came out and everybody was like, need to have it. Yeah. And now no one, that's moved on. And so I thought it was just quite ironic.
You mentioned it in a beer group tonight, didn't you? And they were like, oh, this one. And you were like, no, this one.
Yeah, they were like, was it the mole one? And I was like, no, it's not the mole one. But there's so many that come out from, we'll talk about it when we get to that, but there's so many that come out from Vocation as well. That is, I'm repping my Vocation top, but there's so many that come out that it is very much like, oh, which impy are you drinking from? Is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. So I just thought it'd be a bit ironic actually that we're drinking some hype beers after they've been hype, and are some of them still hype? Don't know. But yeah, so I guess a good place to start is hype beers. What does it mean to you, Jo? When someone says hype beer, what do you think of?
So I think of something that only gets released, either it's limited edition and you can only get it the once, or it's like a yearly thing like Putty or Bourbon County Stout from Goose Island, and people know like about this time of year it's going to come out. They're going to only make so much of it, and I have to have it because it's the best beer ever. That's what hype means to me.
Right. So I think, that is definitely, I think about it in that way, but then I also think about it in terms more of like breweries and brewery releases. So to me, when I think hype beer, I think it doesn't even have to be a reoccurring yearly thing. It's just a brewery that releases a beer. Everybody absolutely jumps on it. You have to queue for it. It doesn't matter if it's a yearly thing and everyone wants to get the one for that year, or if it's just a one-off release. Doesn't matter how far and wide it kind of stretches. It's just people go, Vocation are going to put something out, I'm going to buy it. So I definitely
think about like a brewery as like a hype brewery, because everything that comes out from them, someone's like, yep, I've got to get that. Yep, I've got to get that.
Well, that's it. And I think the reason we picked the Vocation one as well is because it's Vocation and Pomona Island, both of which are. So, I mean, I've got like my Vault City, just as an example of what I've got next to me. I've got the Vault City Slow Gin the Slow Gin Sour, and that was one. I mean, I think pretty much anything that Vault City put out, or a majority of what Vault City put out, people are like, oh my god, Vault City's got a new release, and they just flock to it, especially their impies. Like an impy comes out and people lose their mind over it, and it is quality. So we're not saying, I don't think either of us are trying to say that when a beer is a hype beer that equals bad.
No,
that
no,
equals
not at all.
not worth the hype.
No.
It's just sometimes things maybe get hype that shouldn't. But yeah, I've got the Vault City, and then I've got a Brew York one, because I always find Brew York can be quite like hype beer as well.
Oh, do you think so?
I think so. More so it used to be than it is now. But certain releases they do. I remember when can't say it, HYG came out for the first time, and everybody was like, need to have it. But now it's really quite common. You can get it quite easily without there being an argument over it or anything. So
and I mean, I'm wearing my Neon Raptor t-shirt tonight, and Centaur Army was a bit of a hype beer when it came out.
But then it came out again.
Came out again. I know.
And you can get it. So that's again,
so easy.
That's part of sort of what we're going to discuss today. And then like another example, I mentioned Pomona Island. This is their table beer, Step Steadier. And I got this one because it was Mickey Mouse.
It has a certain famous mouse.
Oh yeah, sorry, I probably should bleep that out. It has a famous cartoon mouse that everyone probably knows worldwide.
Get cease and desist.
I think they already
did.
Yeah, but it wasn't because it was such small batch. It's all right. So I mean, in the same vein of that, it's like you get things like the S43 one that they can't talk about, which was obviously the Snickers wrapper, and stuff like that. And I think that contributes to the hype as well. When you have something like this, that's like a potential for a C and D. People like need to have it because that is going to be C and D. So so I guess what's interesting, I think there's been quite a buzz lately in the last few weeks. So yeah, the first recent hype beer news, that Cadbury's Goose Island collab for the 50th Golden Goobly. I liked the name, the Golden Goobly. Do you want to explain what that is?
I was annoyed. So Goose Island. Now, normally I quite like Goose Island. I know their own baby InBev. Yes, lynch me now. So their own baby InBev. So they're already upsetting people anyway. But they then put out that they were going to be brewing this beer with Cadbury's that's supposed to be like a cream egg, or brewed to celebrate cream eggs. And they're like, it's going to be limited edition. It's going to come out on this day at 11 a.m. Like, get in there. And everyone's like, all right, yeah, cool. Like, it's going to be, it's going to be limited edition. So you assume that like a fair amount of people are going to be able to get it. They did say that they brewed it on the brew kit, which is quite small, in the brew pub in Shoreditch. So, spoiler, that obviously doesn't make very much. But so the first round of it being out came and went, and it sold out in 23 seconds. I literally had it in my basket, and I just could not type my address in quick enough to get it. They then found some more.
They mysteriously found like 500 more somewhere.
And put those out on the Monday. And I was going to try, and then I was busy and didn't bother. A few people, I think, have got it. And I mean, they were selling it in 2-packs as well.
Yeah, but what annoyed me, and I think it annoyed you, was you were saying originally they were like, yeah, you can only buy one per person. And you were like, if it's only one per person and they're sold in 2-packs, like how are they already sold out so quick? And then didn't you see people on Twitter or something that had more than 2? And you were like, what is this?
No, I didn't. But just so many people were on Twitter going like, and I think, so, I mean, we'll talk about queuing for beers and things. And I think that's quite a big thing in America. And I think like, I've been in America when like Black Friday's coming, and people are in their tents outside Best Buy wanting to get those cheap TVs.
I can't
like
deal.
Right, like I literally was there, and they were there on the Sunday, and Thanksgiving wasn't until the Thursday, so they were sleeping there for a good week just to get whatever bargain they thought they were going to get. I think over here in the UK, like, we just like tarring everybody with the same brush here and generalizing
as we always do.
But we like to queue. We like fairness. And if you've got in that queue, you've got it in your basket, and then you don't get it, that makes us very unhappy. as a nation.
I love that you've said that, because it is such like I feel like in the US, and again, Tara and everyone's the same question for that. And for me, I've worked Black Fridays, and I've been very lucky that where I'm from, it's not to the same level as where it happens in other parts of the US. So I'm just take it with a pinch of salt, what I'm saying. But it's very much kind of this more, and maybe it's just from how the US kind of started, and the immigrant culture and all that, and it's an every man for himself. You have to survive, fight to survive, just a bit more rugged. Here, if you accidentally step into the wrong line and accidentally cut somebody off in a queue and you don't even realize, you will be tutted.
Yep, I was gonna say, did you get tutted at?
I don't, because I am very much of the mindset of like, no, there's rules. Like, this is how society functions, and there is rules in society. And anytime that I've had things taken out of my basket, like you did, I lose my mind, because I'm like, it was in my basket. I don't understand.
Basket.
Buying concert tickets and sitting in a queue on Ticketmaster, and then all of a sudden it crashes and you're to the back of the queue, and you're like, I was in the queue. This is ridiculous.
This is a very English phrase. I was in the queue.
I was in the queue. Or like somebody's accidentally cut me off, and I'm like, and like, you don't tell them, oh, sorry, there's a line. Like, there's always maybe one person in the queue that goes, yeah, there's a line. But mostly you just sit there and go, I could tell them there's a queue, but I'm just gonna at them. But you can't do that when you're in an online queue.
No. I mean, you can get on Twitter and you can have a good old go about it, but they didn't care. They sold all their beer. Goose Island didn't care.
You say that. So this is another thing, not this situation that bothered me, but what I think probably also happened that is annoying is, so I know somebody on Instagram, they've got, I don't want to like say who it is, because I don't want it to like draw attention to, oh, this person's like, so I'm going to try to copy that. I don't want them to copy what he's done, but he's made this amazing reel about not getting the Cadbury.
I saw
it. Did you? It was absolutely brilliant. It was so funny. And they reached out to him, and they were like, we want to send you something, and they sent him the same package that Craft Beer Pinup got, which was like the really nice fancy box and everything. What I think they've done is they said, we've got 3,000 beers. There's no way they put those. They probably saved a good chunk. Maybe they saved like a few hundred to do publicity things as and when they wanted to, because obviously, Philip Schofield.
Do you know what? I think that annoys me more. I was like, Phil and Holly got the beer. I bet they don't even drink beer. Like, come on.
I bet, to be fair, I
love you, Phil and Holly.
I bet
come on.
I bet Holly likes a good beer. Like, I bet she likes a good, like, I bet she would be like, I'll have a, decent stout. But it was stuff like that. Also, I bet they held a whole bunch back for publicity purposes in these fancy boxes
with the egg-shaped glass,
with the eggs and everything like that. And I think they've probably, and if they held 500 back for the suddenly we found 500, I think they released 1,000 maybe on that.
But that annoys me more, because that's not fair, because you said there was this amount and now there isn't.
Well, exactly.
My British sense
it is not fair. There is a queue.
Sense of fairness is distraught at this, I'm afraid. So Goose Island are just in my bad books at the moment.
Yeah, to be fair, I think they're in a lot of people's bad books. Some people, they're like, it's Goose Island, it's macro, we can't have that. Some people, it's you didn't give me my cream egg. I've watched people mash up cream eggs and put them in Guinness and all kinds of things. People were just, the forums were going mental. I was just like, if I have to stay off Facebook, because all it is just pictures of cream eggs, pictures of cream egg beer, people putting cream eggs in beer. I was just like, I've got some cream eggs. Maybe I'm going to do it just because, but probably not, because it didn't look very good. So my personal challenge out there to craft brewers, I put it on our Craft Beer UK page. I was like, I would like there to be a craft brewery that does their version of it, but uses, because the thing with the Cadbury's Goose Island is, I think it was a bit misleading. I don't think they ever intended it to taste like a cream egg. I think people assumed it would taste like a cream egg. I think it's, as you saw, I don't know if you watched Craft Beer Pinup, the instructions are like, pour it into the cream egg and sort of drink it out of the cream egg and stuff. I don't think it's meant to taste like a cream egg. They didn't use any cream egg in it.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting choice. So I said, I'd like to know, craft brewery wise, who you think would make a really good cream egg beer and who could actually put the cream eggs in it and make a killer, absolutely killer one that would taste like a cream egg. I think my top contenders for this would probably be Brew York. I think Brew York would do a really good one.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think S43. I don't know if it would necessarily taste like, but I feel like their branding,
Yeah.
their branding would be great. But yeah, I think Brew York, in my opinion, is probably the one to absolutely nail it, because you have to think of whose marketing is it going to fit in with, who can do something really good with the label. But also, I tried to get Fallen Acorn. I was like, please. I was like, if anyone's going to do it and anyone's going to try to like put the man down, you guys will do it. I know you will, because they care about craft. So I'm still campaigning for that. Make a mini egg one, or make a I love mini eggs more than cream eggs. So.
I don't even like cream eggs. This is
I
don't even like cream eggs. I like mini eggs.
I'm the exact same way as you, and I'm like, can somebody, for the love of God, just put mini eggs in a beer? It'll make me happy.
Yeah.
We can all go and just be happy and get it. And I thought, if a craft brewery does it, this is actually a really good way for them to get publicity, because if they do it off the back of this release and they go, look, I've put in actual cream eggs, and they show just how good craft breweries can be at making these type of beers. Yes, it will be a hype beer, which is again perfect for this episode. But if they do it the right way, they could really win over some people that probably wouldn't have heard about them if it wasn't for Cadbury's and Goose Island doing this in the first place. So I mean, my challenge is still out there. Take this on. I think take this on, do a really great marketing campaign for it. I mean, I'll help you just for free. And yeah, that was sort of where I went. But I loved it. The Golden Goobly. It's just a fun word to say.
Funny.
But yeah, I guess the only other sort of hype news that's come up recently is Tesco's again have released their latest beers. And I feel like with supermarkets, anytime supermarket, mainly Tesco's, Morrison's, and now kind of Sainsbury's, every time they release a new beer, people go absolutely mental. So I was in Tesco's last night. I was just literally going to get something else. I didn't go for beer, but I thought, with all these releases, I'm going to go down the aisle and just see what the aisle looked like. It was chaos. There was like, all the new ones were just gone. It was all the older ones that were there, and the 4-packs, because people really don't want to buy a 4-pack.
That's because they've put on that deal though, isn't it, where they're £2 for
they're not all £2.
No, the Omnipolo Buxton one, isn't it? That's £5. And it's only £2 if you got a club card as well. So I thought that was slightly misleading.
Some of them were, I think, like £3 as well. Some of the not all of the new ones were £2. Right. I think it was just the majority of them were the more basic ones were. But it was just, besides the 4-packs, it was just absolute anarchy. I mean, somebody did open up I did get the Brewdog Mallow Laser Quest, and somebody, in order to get that, they were sold out on the rack, but somebody had already opened a package and taken one out. And I was like, well, if somebody's done it already, they can't sell that as a 4-pack, can they? So I might as well take one. No one noticed. It was fine. It went through. Sorry, Tesco. Do what you want with me, but I did it, and I'm not sorry about it. Stop selling 4-packs. I don't want it in a 4-pack. I just want one of them. But yeah, so they announced Buxton, Salt, Northern Monk, North, London Beer Factory, some brew dogs, and then they did like Beaverton and Goose Island and Hawkshead and all that. What really irritated me the most though is they make a big show about it, and they on the lead up to the release, it's all very new beers are coming out, everyone gets really excited, and then they do some really good ones. Like, I really want to try that Omnipolo one because it sounds really lush. You got it, didn't you?
I got it downstairs. Yeah, I managed to get it last week before the nonsense took place.
It wasn't even in mine.
Mallow Laser Quest wasn't in mine last week, but I did get that in my shopping order this week. But yeah, I picked up the Buxton's Omnipolo Lemon Meringue Original Ice Cream Pale Ale last week.
Sounds amazing. It sounds
right up your street, mate.
Yeah. All of it. all of it. I want all of it. So I'm gonna have to really try to get that one, I think. But yeah, what really irked me though is they did this whole like lead up to it, and then some of the ones that they released, get ready for it. It's like Brewdog Punk IPA in 440ml cans.
Oh, do
and
behave.
in a 4-pack, and it's a lower AVB than Punk used to be. And they were like, "Look, it's new," and I was like, "It is not new.
Not new.
Like, you
It's
can't put
Punk
it in a
IPA.
440ml can
So it's new
and put it in a 4-pack and go special new release."
No.
No one needs that. And Lost Cosmonauts, all they did with that, they were like, "This
That's
one
been around
from
for
North."
ages.
Yeah, they whacked it in a 4-pack.
Oh, that's not new.
I know. Sputnik's been around for a while, but now it's in 440. But now it's in 440 cans, Joe, and it's in a 4-pack.
Now, see this. I feel like this would be. I suppose
it's a piss take.
Maybe because it's like, because we're starting to get to a point where you could have people over. Maybe in the summer we're going to be able to have barbecues, blah blah blah. So maybe you will want these in 4-packs. I don't want them in 4-packs now.
But do you want to call it a new release, a special new, like hyped up?
No.
Oh my god, it's coming out! Get ready
for
it, people! Competition time! It's a 4-pack of Punk IPA.
But there'll be more new ones before the summer when you actually want them in a 4-pack to have them in the garden with people that are actually allowed in. We assume
exactly, but just don't play that game of new beer dropping today. No. It is Punk IPA in 440ml cans in a 4-pack. Like, I don't need, get out.
No.
And then they've done Vocations Tropical, but it just looks like hop, skip and juice, but a rebranded hop, skip and juice.
I saw it on the shelf and was like,
I just assumed it was a repackaged hop, skip and juice. So I'm interested maybe to see if that's different, because I think you can still get them. So maybe I'll get one of both and kind of see what it's like. But I think you can only buy that one in a bloody 4-pack. I don't need a 4-pack.
Just want one.
Just a 1-pack, please.
This is like the bane of our beer existence, is packs of things.
Maybe it's us, and it's an us problem. Maybe it is. We're asking for too much, because some people are happy to have 4 of the same beer, and we're like, why would you do this to me?
Do you know what? I've got a cupboard full of beers that were a part of a 4-pack that I didn't really want.
Yeah, that's when
I've
you
got
bake
nobody
with them
coming round to give them away too.
That's it. Great fridge fillers for when you have company. Great to pawn off if you don't like them on somebody that you like, but you don't like that much. And great for baking and just overall cooking with and barbecuing. Like when it's barbecue season, you can use some of these as like bastes for meat and stuff like that. So
I mean, literally what they're being used for.
I don't need a 4-pack. So yeah, that's all I've got for recent hype news. Is there anything else you could think of that I've missed?
No, I suppose like every year the hype goes up around Bourbon County Stout as well, because it's got to come over from the US because it's not brewed over here. I always get slightly annoyed about that, because in the US they have variants and I've never seen a variant over here, and it makes me very upset.
I can feel that. I can feel the anger.
There was like an Earl Grey tea one this year, and I was like, why can't I have an Earl Grey tea version of it? Very annoyed.
Just put, you know what people do with like Cadbury's, and they're like, I just take a Cadbury egg and I stick it in a Guinness, and like that's fine. Maybe what you need to do is just stick a bag of Earl Grey tea in it and let it sit there for a bit. And then
I'm not buying a £20 bottle of beer and sticking a Earl Grey tea
Why
bag
don't you try getting a normal Goose Island, put it in a barrel, stick some tea bags in it.
This is an awful lot of work.
Just
my outrage, when I can just feed off of the warmth of my outrage instead.
That's brilliant. Well said. Well said. Yeah, I don't really follow that. What, like, is it around now that they come out, or what? I don't know too much about
it's usually kind of November. It seemed late this year. It was like November, December time they come out, and I have seen people queuing outside of the Shoreditch Brew pub for it. I just get mine off of Beer Hawk.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
I was going to say I've got comments. We'll get to sort of comments that I got from people on social media, but somebody did make a comment about queuing for it, saying people get up at 5:30 in the morning and it releases at I think that they were talking about an online one, or like I said, I'll get to it in a minute, but it was like the online release and people getting up at 5:30 so that they could get it for 6.
Madness.
I was like, I was sleeping.
I got an email saying it was out, and I was like, boop, in my dark basket.
Do you have a lot of competition over here for it, in the sense of like, if you don't get it when it says it's out, what's the what's the leniency on it?
No, see, this is I think this is why I was so annoyed about the cream egg one, because there was still like that was around for a few days. Like it wasn't like it didn't like it wasn't wasn't gone in 23 seconds. It wasn't even gone in an hour,
23
and
seconds.
and arguably I would say, Bourbon County Stout is something that a lot of people buy. So I think that's why I was so surprised that the cream egg one went so quickly, because I was just like, but this doesn't happen with Bourbon County Stout. Why is this happening with this? Very odd.
Yeah, that is we'll get to that about the queuing and everything else towards the end. I'm not prolonging it anymore. We're digging into these Verdants. It's happening. Accept it.
Oh, there is a putty in my hand. I'm sure Verdant make really lovely beers because lots of people like it. They're just, dippers are not for me.
Well, you're gonna
see
have
if they can change my
two
mind,
of them back to back. Which one do you want to drink first, the putty or the Don't Tell Gus? I'm happy to
first?
I'm happy to follow your lead.
So I've literally just cracked this, and already I can smell the tropical.
Aren't you excited for tropical?
But I'm also getting vegetal. I've only just cracked it.
It is definitely vegetal.
Oh,
yeah. You know what? Okay, so looking at this, it's very soupy, and it's very soupy, brothy looking.
Yeah,
like quite hazy. And it's really funny because I was on Reddit the other day, and somebody made a post about somebody in the US, and they were sort of West Coast, and they had made a comment about how they were done with modern beers because they showed a photo of a very brothy looking beer, and it said it was a dipper and there's a double IPA on it, and they were like, I don't do hazies, I don't like hazies. And I was like, the majority, if not all, of the double IPAs that I've personally had have always been hazy. So my expectation of when I get one is that more likely than not it's going to be hazy. But I guess because over there they have a lot of California IPAs being clear. But yeah, it's very hazy, very nice thick head on this.
It's got a thick bubbly head. Yeah, I'm getting.
It does smell vegetal.
Overripe mango, but I'm getting some cabbage in there. I thought I was getting a bit of onion as well, but that's kind of died.
I never get the onion that everyone goes on about.
No, I didn't until I had a Northern Monk. Was it Transcendent? I think it was a Northern Monk. It was a Morrison's release, I think.
Transient. Yeah.
It was a highly hopped one, and I got onion on that one.
Yeah, I've never actually gotten it myself. But when you say overripe, I think overripe probably is vegetal, but I think in an overripe type way.
I'm getting something weird.
Something weird.
Like wood.
I can't get that on mine. Your nose is probably just way better.
Something weird.
I'm just boozy. I'm getting lots of booziness.
It's boozy. Right, okay, I'm drinking it.
Do it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You don't like it. That face is like, no.
I mean, if you gave it to me and told, and didn't tell me it was putty, I'd be like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, but I think that's my feeling though, is I feel like, yeah, it's all right. So basically with Don't Tell Gus and Putty, they're both double. I think they're both New England style double IPAs, and they're both 8%. And Fruit Sidecar Exhibition also the same, also 8%. So for me, it's kind of like I'll have to see how the others stack up to it. But to me, it's like there's nothing that to be brutally honest, there's nothing that I have about this that I think stands head and shoulders above other double IPAs that I've had. It's good. Like, it's not bad for me as a person that likes double IPAs. And I'm only going off the first few sips. Obviously, it might change as I drink it more, but there's nothing that I go, this is head and shoulders above the rest.
It's a bit savoury. There's a lot of hot bitterness in there. Boozy.
I just got a little bit of like a bit of marshmallowiness in that, and I don't know why. Yeah, that just one sip in particular.
I get a bit of fruit at the end, but it's all right.
I think it's mainly
I have heard that
and like hoppy, and
from people that have had putty over the years, you know, I hear that when it first came out, it was quite groundbreaking. Like there wasn't anything out like it at the time. But you know, we've got so many more options on beers nowadays that it's potentially not quite as groundbreaking as it was. A bit like punk IPA, really.
That's it though, because you've got, you know, with Verdant in particular, like what they're known for. I know we had their stout, we had their export stout, and that was good.
Yeah, it was right.
But what they're really known for is their hoppy beers. Yeah. So they're known for just doing absolute bangers of dippers and very hoppy IPAs. So I mean, you expect it to be good. Maybe when it didn't have as much competition.
Yeah.
I've never had it in the previous years, so I can't really speak to that. And I know, like you said, a lot of people, when they've had it too quickly, they've gone, oh, it's a bit green. Yeah. People tend to drink it a bit quick, so they've learned to hold on to it. But
that annoys me, because when a brewer puts a beer out, it should be ready to drink. Like nobody should be having to buy a beer and like, oh, I'm going to put that down for a bit.
Well, should have been that would have been like, the conditioning process, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be like, if you're and the quality control. If it's ready to drink, then you're putting it out. That's how it should be. Like obviously, there are some beers that will age, and so you can buy more of them and put them aside and see what happens. But when a beer comes out, it should be ready to drink. Like it shouldn't be, oh no, I'm going to leave this for 2 weeks before I drink it. And you know, it's not. You know, that's not just a Verdant thing. Or a putty thing. That's I think that some breweries put things out too quickly. I've got an entire fridge full at the minute on the bottom shelf of Overworks beers from Brewdog that they just got a bit acidic last year. A bit is an understatement of Overworks, and I love an Overworks, but some of the ones last year, I think they just put them out too quickly, and so I'm leaving them for a good year, and then I'll try them all, and then I'm sure they'll be lovely. But you shouldn't have to do that as a consumer.
No. And I think so the hops of this one, Mosaic, Galaxy and Azaka. So
right, so I'm not a big fan of Galaxy.
I was going to say Mosaic
smells like broccoli.
I was going to say that's where the vegetals coming from, probably.
Yeah, so this is so I'm not I am not the target market for Verdant.
To be fair, I'm probably the more target market for them, because I genuinely, this is the thing, is when I say, oh, it's fine, I don't mean it in a way of like, oh, it's not great. Like it is good for me and the type of beers I like. It is good, but again, I'm not drinking it and going, this is innovation. Like this is something new and different, and the way people talk about it, which is not a fault to the breweries. If anything, they've done a really great job of their marketing campaigns, if that's the way people are talking about it. But I think it's just the hype around the fact it's released once a year, so everyone loses their ever-loving mind over it. And you'd think that it was just this god among beer, and at the end of the day, I mean, let's crack open Don't Tell Gus and see how it stands up, because what I'm going to try to do later when I open up the fruit car site exhibition is I'm going to put them next to each other. I'm going to just have my husband hand me one, and I'm going to go, which one's this? Can I tell the difference between them? I'm wondering how different they are. So Don't Tell Gus is Citra, Mosaic and Enigma. So
I quite like Citra, and I quite like Enigma.
See if you get vegetal on the Mosaic.
Oh, it's much more yellow.
I don't think so.
Oh,
when I hold mine up together, it looks the same.
My putty's darker.
Let me try pouring a bit more putty just to. I don't know. So look on mine, on my screen. They are pretty much similar. Which I don't know how that happens. How you get sort of
more broccoli.
If I didn't just put that down in the hands, I probably again would have mixed them up.
Yeah, I might well have done.
The smell is different though.
They smell completely different.
Yeah. There is still the hint of booziness. I would say that Don't Tell Gus smells less boozy than Putty did. And there is still the vegetal nature of it, but there is definitely more like herbal notes to it, I think. It's lighter. It's more subtle. It's more
Yes.
subdued. Whereas Putty was very
in your face.
pungent.
Oh, that's a good word.
Yes, pungent. How does that sit with you? Better, worse?
It's all right.
They do taste very different, to be fair. Yeah. And I feel like there's a bit of herbalness in the taste as well.
It's light. I feel like in mouthfeel, it's lighter.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
This one doesn't feel as boozy.
It's less boozy, but I would actually say it's more bitter.
Yes.
So it depends on what you like, really. I think
It smells like raw broccoli.
Yeah, it's hard to get past when you smell vegetable. For me, it's hard to get past the vegetable.
I feel like it's more citrus, whereas Putty was more like vegetal, heavily hopped, overripe fruit.
I think for the Don't Tell Gus.
Don't Tell Gus is more citrusy. And
it's drier, I think, as well. For me, there's a lot of dryness from this, whereas Putty was like just kind of more juice bomb.
Yeah.
This is more like herbal and dry and boozy, but the booziness was much lighter. It was more boozy probably in smell than it was in taste, but even that was quite light. So be interested to see how the third one goes, but I'm not gonna have that now. I'll have it later. But while we sip on these, I did put a question out earlier today on Instagram, and so I thought it'd just be interesting to read out some other people's experiences, because I basically just said, tell me about hype beers. I wanted to really know about sort of what are people's experiences. Have they had anything that hasn't lived up to the hype, or what are their favorite sort of hype beers and all that. I've had some feedback, so I thought I'd just read through some of it, because some of it is pretty interesting. So the Craft Beer Basic said, I remember the queue at Hop City for Hudson Valley Brewery was the length of Northern Monk Refractory, same as Omnipolo at Indie Man. I never see the point of queuing for things like that when there are so many other things available. It's just that effing FOMO that people have.
Actually, do you know what? I hadn't actually thought about at festivals. And that annoys me as well. I think so. I did what was it called? Metro Mayhem that Brewdog did several years ago in London, and some of the queues there were ridiculous. And people were like, "Oh, we'll just go somewhere else. Just go somewhere else." Yeah, but I'd done some of the other places. I wanted some of the beers.
I want this one.
And not necessarily this one. I wanted the beers that were on that bar. And I think that one they just hadn't quite. It was a new venue. They hadn't quite worked out the layout very well. Yeah. And no, I don't like. If I'm in a situation like that, I'd probably just go and try something else.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, obviously, again, we'll get into the proper queuing, because obviously we when we talk about queuing, we were talking about physically queuing somewhere to get to buy beer at a brewery for a release, as opposed to a beer festival. So I thought that was quite interesting, because like you, I didn't think about that being an option. And it's funny, and I'll probably mention it again when we get to the queuing at a brewery, but I always think, I can't even understand people that want to queue that long. There's so many other things you can be doing. But then I think about how I'm kind of a hypocrite, because I would sit and a musician I really liked, Frank Turner, I sat and I queued. I queued, but I basically sat outside where the line was going to be for the meet and greet. And I sat there for like an hour at Reading Festival, because there wasn't anyone else that I wanted to see more than I wanted to meet him. Had there been somebody I wanted to see, maybe I wouldn't, but it feels like a hypocrite, because it's like, I'll sit there in a queue to meet somebody, or I'll wait in a queue to go to a restaurant I really want to go to for an hour. But would I stand in a queue to get to one bar when there's another option there? I don't know if I could be bothered.
It depends on what you want, doesn't it? Essentially, trying all of these craft beers, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
And so if that's what your hobby is, then you'll put that time in for it. I would think.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, like you said, it depends on the beer that's over there. If I'm like, that's the one that I want, I will queue for it, because that's the one that I want. So yeah, that was an interesting one. So then you've got Points of Brew, Stephen Points of Brew. He said latest one was Polly's birthday quadruple IPA. I want to call it Quipper, but I don't know if that's how other people would pronounce it. So yeah, billed as the best thing since sliced bread, hard to get a hold of, and was bang average.
Oh, sad.
And I said, yeah, everybody went
That's
in
the
hard
worst,
for
isn't
that.
it?
And he responded with, yep, me included, with
Oh
the
dear.
in his eyes. Oh, Stephen, mate.
That's the worst.
But to
Yeah,
be
you've
fair to
waited for
him,
something and then it's not even it's not even worth the hype. That's
to
really
be
bad.
fair though, because he works at a bottle shop, if they got it in that bottle shop, he probably didn't have to queue for it. I don't know if they did. I'm just unfairly saying that, but
And as well, to be fair, like I haven't physically queued for things, but I've definitely refreshed the page over and over to try and get into things.
oh yeah, we'll get to that because
Yeah.
I've definitely done that as well. We can share those stories after.
Yeah.
But yeah, Haley up north, or Haley's come back to
Hey,
say hi,
Haley
Haley
B.
B. She said, I know you already know this, but Equilibrium Breweries Super Fractal Marshmallow Tipper is about the best beer I've tasted. So I've not actually tried any Equilibrium, so
I've
I
had
need to.
one Equilibrium that came in a beer advent calendar one year, I think.
Well, yeah, I have heard about the super fractal marshmallow tipper, so I need it. Really, I think I need it. So
And I think as well because for us getting hold of American beers can be quite difficult. Then actually they are like beers like Pliny the Elder that we're not necessarily going to be able to get hold of. If that was over here, like people would go a little bit mad for it.
I think you'd have like the people that are. It's the same people that I've maybe not like across the board, but some of the people that would be more deep into craft, like gatekeeping level of deep into craft,
Yeah.
would be like, I have to have that because that is the be all end all of what is craft. And some people are just like, I just want to drink what I like, instead of going, there's it has to do sort of with the comment about the FOMO as well. I think there's the FOMO of everyone saying this is like the granddaddy of all beer and it's the starting point of a lot of stuff. I think that means people go, oh, if that came over here, I would have it. And I mean, I can understand that because I probably consider it would depend on the price tag.
Yeah.
For me, I'm very price tag driven.
Yeah.
Not in that way, but I mean, like if it's something that's like 20 quid, it's like, okay, do I want to spend that 20 quid there or do I want to spend 20 quid directly with a brewery?
Yeah.
Don't know.
And it depends on the beer as well, doesn't it? Like if the experience of that beer is going to be worth that 20 quid, I will go for it.
And it's very personal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I spent nearly 20 quid on an Omnipolar Bianca.
Yeah.
Brewdog had me. I was like, peanut butter and jelly, just take it. Just 18.50.
Like, it's the experience, and if something that you you're really going to enjoy, then certain things I'm like, no, not that one, not today.
Yeah, so Rolly called at 82 said, never really gone for them, to be honest. I'm just happy to keep trying stuff that's new to me. And I think, to be fair, that's kind of how, like, I relate to that because that's kind of how for the majority of stuff I am, is I will go for some of the FOMO hype beers and all that, like the Pomona Islands. Like I needed to have that famous mouse because I was like, I just want the label on that as well. And Pomona always, for me, in my opinion, do really good beer.
I'm a sucker for a David Bowie label.
Yeah, you definitely are. You 100% are.
Although I didn't get Bibbidi Bobbidi hat in the end.
Somebody's got to have that. If anyone's got that, just send her the label. She needs it.
I'll just have the label.
She just wants the label. That's it. But yeah, I find that unless it's something that I really want to try that's new to me and all that, then I I'll go for it. But it's very much, I'm more interested, I think, in what is more for my taste than what other people are like, this is amazing. Yeah. Grace Laura Barker said, I tend to avoid them, nearly always a letdown. So I'd be interested to know which ones she's had that she's felt were a letdown, because I think it's all down to personal preference. And it's like, I think with the Cadbury's cream egg, all the people that I've seen have actually had it have turned around and gone, yeah, it's not that great. For how much they hyped it up, it's not actually that great, and it's not what I expected. But it would just be interesting to see which ones she thinks. So let us know, Grace Laura Baker. I keep saying Barker, but it's not. It's Baker. And I know that, but my friend's surname is Barker. So when I read it, that's why I keep saying it like that. We've got another one that's I can't pronounce this, but it's Key 3 VW. Fortunate to visit Russian River in California. Just a regular time, not a Pliny the Younger release. First day I went there was a queue of about 45 minutes to get into the tap room. Yeah, 45 minutes.
Wow.
I would do 45 minutes though if it was like I'm traveling, I'm on holiday, it's somewhere I really want to go.
Yeah,
I'd go 45 minutes, and I don't think I'd think about that too much.
Depends on what else I wanted to do.
Fair.
Although I probably would like to see Russian River, to be fair.
I think it depends, like how far did I travel, how easily accessible is it to get that beer and to get into that location again. For like 45 minutes, I've definitely queued longer than that to get into a cheesecake factory. So
true story.
It is a
non-fiction.
I've queued like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get into a cheesecake factory.
Do you, like, if you're
it's not even that good.
It's they're cheesecakes though, man.
The cheesecake. Okay,
they're cheesecake chicken.
But you can get the cheesecake to go.
True.
You don't
I've
have
definitely
to
done
eat
that
the
too.
cheesecake
I've definitely done that too. But like if you're in an amusement park, you can wait an hour or more to get on a ride.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the trade-off there? That's what I mean though, is it feels so hypocritical to be like
a beer will last you longer than a amusement park
ride. If you go to Epcot, you're probably queuing even longer for beer because the queue to get to like the beer stalls at Epcot is probably ridiculous.
I have looked back at some of my recently actually in my time hop. I'd been this time several years ago. I was at Epcot.
I thought you were going to say like
drinking
last year.
No. Like a few years back, probably five now, maybe 6. I drank around the world in Epcot, and there's definitely one from Germany where my comment on the beer was, I picked the wrong one. Out of the two that were on offer, and I just been in a long queue.
You queued for like an hour. If I queued for that, if I queued for like quite a long time, and there was only 2 options, I'd be like, just one of both.
I know.
Get me one of both.
Yeah, I should have just got both.
Did you get to that like stage though? You're queuing for so long, you finally get to the front, and then your mind goes blank. You don't know which one you want, and then you feel panicked and on the spot, and you just go that one.
It's one of those where you're in the queue and you're kind of like, what options are there? And you're like popping over people's heads.
As a short person,
options are there?
I get it. I'm like tippy toes. Can you see what's going on over there?
It's even worse if it's the fridge. Because then you're just like, but then you
got
to down. But then you got to get someone. Then you've got to get someone in the queue, and then you've got to get up and have a look over, and then go back to the person.
You do the like, excuse me. I just want to look really quick. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's brilliant.
Oh, the days are going to bars.
I'm not. It's funny because I was never a big like going out to drink person because I always find places near me just don't have what I drink. But it is very much like, I kind of want to just go for like just for those type of anecdotes of things that I'm like, I hate when this happens. I miss that I am not doing that thing that I hate when it happens. But this is one I think you'll appreciate. Crunch had so much hype that I forgot I'm not keen on milk stout. It didn't stand a chance. That's from Capsar. I thought that was really funny. That he's like,
Putty.
I'm not keen on milk stout. It didn't stand a chance. So they've obviously done a really great job with their marketing because it just forgot you didn't like it. And then the last one I've got. Brilliant. The last one I've got is from Yorkshire Westworld. Said, I'd say a weird thing is the sharing of the pre-release codes for Cloudwater, as they seem to give them out to their friends. And then people snap them up, and then when the beers go for general release, they're usually all been bots. It just drives FOMO up, is what he said. So it's difficult. And I've seen people share the codes for the pre-releases as well, which is, I think, I get it, especially because sometimes you're in a situation where you subscribe to a newsletter and it doesn't come through, and then you're in the panic of like, I want to buy this and I don't have the newsletter. So reaching out to try to fix it at that point is a bit too late. So then the code gets sent out, and then who knows how many other people snatch it up. And it's just it's frustrating. But yeah, it was a good bit of feedback. I think my favorite was the crunch, where it was like it was so hyped I forgot I don't like milk stouts.
I mean, I've got to say, I've looked at Putty for several years now and just been like, that's not for me.
And then we were
like,
it, I forgot I don't like dippers.
and And then we were just like, should we do it? Let's do a hype episode. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to drink Putty. But really, it was kind of a like, well, everyone says it's so amazing. Let's see. Like, I've got a reason to drink it now rather than buy it and sink pour it.
Yeah.
Whereas, I've got it and it's all right.
Now you can sick pour it and not feel bad because I made you have it.
Yeah, because you made me.
Please
don't do it.
Please don't drain pour it. Please just save it and like bake with it or something. I don't know. Make a pizza dough with it.
To bake with.
I don't know. Just find something. Don't drain pour it. Don't tell people you're going to drain pour it. At least say you're going to.
I'm not going to drain. She's going to go Putty.
Hug it. Don't worry. Right. I'll give you something. Let's give you something you're going to be happy with and you're not going to have a moan about. We're going to open up the Impy now.
Make me really happy. It better make me really happy.
Well, I hope so, because I can't deal with you if you're not happy about this. Having 2 dippers and then this. Yeah, I'm going to have it on my special Pomona glass. Oh,
have you got your Pomona Island?
I do. I've got my Vocation top and my Pomona.
I've got my snifter glass, which is just very good. This is my stout glass.
I mean, yes, just pouring it. Yes, please. I mean, it's called Imperial Mocha.
Oh, I can smell it.
It's a barrel aged and it's got a lovely mocha head. And this is super dark. You are going to love this.
Yeah, that is lovely.
Oh, and it smells like dark chocolate, like liquid dark chocolate. Yeah. Like when you melt dark chocolate to coat something you're baking, like ganache, that's what it smells like.
And it's got some dark roast coffee in there as well.
I don't even get the coffee. I just get straight dark chocolate, bittersweet chocolate.
Yeah, there's coffee. There's chocolate. There's a little bit of. Is there a nuttiness?
It's a bit
hazelnut.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a bit of like the chalkiness of cacao powder for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's smooth.
That's nice.
It is smooth. So those other ones were 8%.
Yes.
This is a 12.4%.
Yeah.
I didn't actually look at that when I decided I was having the 3 dippers tonight. Fine, fair. My husband's going to absolutely love me tonight. But it doesn't, for 8%, those, at least the putty tasted quite boozy. Yeah. Don't Tell Gus, not so much. For 12.4%, this is very smooth.
Yeah.
Nice barrel aged. It doesn't have that harshness. Doesn't have an alcohol burn or anything like that.
There's a lovely warmth at the end of it.
I wouldn't say that's like I wouldn't say it's a strongly alcohol. The warmth isn't like alcohol-y.
No. That's lovely. That's going to take you a while to drink though.
Yeah, it's definitely slow. It's a slow burner.
It is thick.
It gets like the maltiness like towards the very, very back end of it, but it's like it starts off being like cocoa and then turns into a bit of malty sweetness, but it's really nice.
On the nose, I'm getting that barrel. Did it say it's bourbon barrels? Yeah.
It's not as thick mouthfeel wise. It's not as full mouthfeel wise, but actually I don't think it needs to be, because it is more like for me it comes across more like a drinking chocolate.
It is viscous.
Yeah. Good word. That's a good word.
Oh, there you go.
So I thought while we're sipping this in, I could mention. So I don't think that the hype stuff is limited to just beer.
No.
So you can get like there's lots of hype around glassware. So like I think it was Verdant actually, who it was so difficult to get glassware from Verdant at one point in time because they sold out of all their glassware and people wanted it and they just couldn't get it. They didn't have any more for quite a while, and you'd look online at people selling it and people would be selling glassware for like, I don't know, like anywhere between 10, 20 quid. And you'd be like, I'm not going to buy that secondhand glass for that much. Like, yeah, 5 quid. I'm like, yeah, I'll pay 5 quid for a glass, 6 quid for a glass. But it was like 10 plus, 10, 15. And then some of them would be on like bidding where it would be going up. And you're like, oh, festival glasses are like the same thing. So I've got these, I brought them in here just for this. So this one's my favorite of the bunch. So I just got the Amundsen glasses. So they're unmeasured. So I'd say they're probably about 2/3, but
Yeah,
I'm not very
they're
good
quite
with
round.
I'm not very good at like looking at them and going, that's what it is.
Yeah, they're
I've
bigger than
been
a third, so I reckon they are probably 2/3, and they're quite
I've
wide round,
been
aren't they?
told, yeah, but my hands, it's not really helpful because everything
So for those
looks
who are listening, they are they're basically they're almost like
like
the cut
stubbies.
off bottom of a shaker pint. Which personally, as a taster, I don't like straight-sided glasses.
Yeah, I didn't buy them for the
No.
tasting. I bought them
because
because they're pretty and they have donuts all over them. And it's 6 glasses and they're all different colors. So the one I've just held up to the camera, if you're watching the video, is the pink one. Then you've got
and they've got the artwork on them like the cans,
Amundsen's
haven't
are,
they?
yeah. I mean, it's all the same where it's all the donuts and stuff around it. All of them are the donuts, but you've got a yellow, a pink, a green, a blue, a purple, and some like turquoisey color. And I just thought the colors were really pretty, and I was having a really crap day at work, and I'm trying really hard not to buy beer anymore.
So somebody
posted, a few people had posted them, I'd seen on across all the forums, and someone's like, they're still on sale, here's where you get them. And I was like, twist my arm, okay. So I bought it. But I remember North and Day are doing their release, and they did the tipper that they did with the glass and the t-shirt, and I remember it was like limited to one person because it sold out really quick as well. So they didn't limit it to one person. You know, there'd be people buying them and then just trying to flog off the t-shirts and the glasses because it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, I feel like Daya and North are, hype breweries.
Yeah, I think they're less, it feels like they're less so now, but I would say this time last year, up until I think maybe what it is I think this time last year they were massively hype, but I think since then, maybe because of lockdown, maybe because so many more people are on forums that they've got a chance to see them and it's settled down now. Maybe other people have stepped up because of lockdown, where everyone's producing such good quality. Not that they weren't before, but I think everybody's being very competitive and everything now because they have to survive. That sort of leveled the playing field a bit, maybe, because I don't feel they're as hype now as they were. But maybe because they do online stuff more as well, it's less of a thing because you can get them from all these different bottle shops that people didn't realize you could get them from before. Don't know.
The way we consume beer has definitely changed, hasn't it?
I think that warrants a whole own discussion, to be fair, because I feel like we could go on about that for ages. But I guess to our final topic, really, when it comes to the phenomenon of the US lengthy queuing for beer. So, I mean, I guess I've kind of already said mine, which is, for me, I can't understand doing that type of queuing. Like, for me, it's like an hour and a half, maybe. That to me seems reasonable, but anything beyond that seems crazy. But then I sort of feel like a hypocrite because I would do it if it was something I deemed worthwhile enough. And for these beers, I guess for some people it is worthwhile enough. So what is your...
I wouldn't get in a big queue for something.
What's your max time?
Probably about an hour.
That seems fair.
I definitely wouldn't be staying overnight.
No.
Or having to get up really early and getting there super early. Nah.
I say even Black Friday sales, and you're talking about that. I'm like, guys, let's go to bed. No, you don't want to sleep in a tent on a pavement.
I think there's actually a picture of me, like, we took it like in the car park, and I'm pointing at the tents with the Best Buy in the back, and I'm just like, what are these people doing?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? But I guess for me, I didn't really understand it too much. Like, I didn't really understand that. And I'm not trying to say like, I can't believe people do it.
No, I understand. I get why people do it. I personally wouldn't do it.
But I've wanted to sort of get a better understanding, so I did put it on Reddit because I think the craft beer sub on Reddit definitely has more US people who would understand better than, like, if I was to just put it on the UK forum, just to set the scene for people in the US that might be listening or anywhere else. Like in the UK, I can't recall people ever doing something that's like a massively long queue outside of festivals. Like, I can't think of any brewery that people have been like, I've lined up for since 5 o'clock in the morning for a 12 o'clock release. Like or days, like sometimes in the US, it's like more than a day. Yeah. People will queue up. And I couldn't really get my head around that. And I think if I were to put that on a UK based craft beer forum, everyone would be like, what are you talking about? Like,
I think I've literally only seen it at the Goose Island Brew Pub, and then I think people got there early and stood in the line. Like, I don't think it was, nobody was overnight, I wouldn't have thought. Like, people just got up a bit early and joined the queue.
Yeah,
you don't do that over here.
No, we do digital queues, and I think we touched upon it quickly. So digital queue wise, I've definitely digitally queued. I did it for Brewdog, not Brewdog. Well, I did it for Brewdog, but I also did it for Tiny Rebel. The Brewdog, I could kind of write that off easier because I just had it on in the background. Problem being, I missed my slot about 3 times for the Lost Lager.
I didn't get Lost Lager. I didn't bother.
I only did it because I could have it in the background.
I got annoyed because I just wanted to get in and read something on the forum, and I couldn't get in because of the queue for Lost Lager.
That was the problem, is they decided to make it so that you had to sit through the queue just to get to the website as a whole, not just the shop, just the whole website. Instead of diverting the traffic and all that. But I was like, I'll just keep it on the background. And then I forgot about it. And 2 hours later, it says, oh, you're 10 minutes slot, and you click and it goes, oh, sorry, you've missed it. And I was like, for God's sake. So I had to start the queue again. And I was like, I wouldn't have sat by my PC and focused on this. It's just because I could have it in the background, which I really love about virtual queues. The Tiny Rebel one, though, made me irate because they didn't even have that type of like, you're in the queue. No. It was literally like, computer says no, DNS error. And I was like, no. And like, I put things in my cart and I'd go to check out, and then it would go DNS error. Sorry.
I didn't even get in. And I left it a day and then ended up going back. But I think that one, I don't think anybody expected that one.
I don't think they expected that one.
So that was the release. They did like a massive release, didn't they? Of
the one that I did it on was mine was the Stay Put, was the first one. Put. Was when they did the Stay Put. I got Stay Put
absolutely no problem. Didn't have to queue anything.
I queued for it.
I was absolutely fine with that. So then when they did the next release, which was the new Stay Puffs and some other new beers and stuff, I was just like, yep, I'll pop on at the time, it'll be fine. And just the entire website was just not there for like a day and a half, which was just annoying. And there was like, if you're going to hype, I think the thing is, the moral of all of these stories are, if you're going to hype something up, you better have the product available and you better have the capacity to get it out to people, whether that's digitally, whether that's in person, whatever, because we don't take kindly to this sort of thing here in Britain.
We've got rules.
There are rules. Yes.
Society functions by rules.
Yes. I've definitely waited for beers to be released on Brewdog. Specifically, Overwork's very first release was being put on the shop, and they'd said they were going to tell us what time it was, and everyone just kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. We were like, what time's it coming on? Oh, and then and so everyone was waiting for a day, and then they went, yeah, we're pushing it back a week. Fuming.
I'd be fuming. I would be fuming.
And then again,
there's rules to society.
Then waited a whole week, and then again, they didn't have enough server capacity. Like,
well, you think they'd learn?
And the answer,
it's not the
always,
first time.
Yeah, but the answer is always, oh yeah, we added extra capacity, but it wasn't enough. Well, then you obviously didn't you didn't plan well enough for it, then, did you? It annoys me. I won't do it.
I think we need to call this episode Hype Beers - There Are Rules to Society.
Yes!
There are rules to society.
There are rules. Brackets,
yeah.
There are rules to society.
I definitely queued
that's our new rap album.
I didn't queue. Yeah, there are rules to society. Get it.
Hype Beers brackets. There
hype
are
beers.
Rules to society. This
will be the photo.
Rap album. Yeah.
I didn't queue for Pomona, but I've definitely made sure to get on their website exactly when their beer was being released, because I remember when they had their barrel age releases, I got a Chardonnay barrel age sour. Nice. And that's when I got this glass, and I was very much like, I know how much people are talking about these. I am not going to get them if I don't get on. And they are the type of things that if you weren't getting on at 10 or noon or whatever it was, they were selling out within the half hour, so you had to get on. So I've definitely done that. Daya, I've definitely been on Daya because there's been Daya that I've really wanted. Like I wanted We'll Take It Off the Zombies the last time it came out, not this current time. And admittedly, I wanted it for the label, and I really like Daya in general, so I knew I was going to like the beer. And it was like 5 minutes too late, and it was like, yeah, it's gone. I was like, oh, for God's sake! Like it was just because there was a queue. It was in my basket. Oh. It happened to me with your Goose Island situation. It was in my basket, and then when I went to go check out, it took it out of my basket. I was fuming because I was like, it is in my basket. What are you doing? You can't just take it out of my basket. Think about a supermarket
that web developers need to sort out. If it's in your basket, no one else gets to have it.
It's reserved. It is reserved until it means you can't look around for other beers. It happened with us that time when we both put something in our basket and I checked out and they only had one of them, and then Joe's like, sorry, did you buy that? I was like, yeah. She's like, I just went to go look for one beer and it is gone and it's out of my basket.
I was looking at Vault City. It's Vault City's fault.
Hype. You're buying into the hype.
Right. I bought into the hype and I missed out on another beer. I can't remember what beer it was now.
I don't remember what it was, but it was something I bought and you were like, it's gone. I've just been notified. It is. I cannot check it out anymore.
Out of my basket.
But I just like think about if you went around a supermarket and someone had like, and you're like, oh, they're out of KFC flavored crisps, and I really want those KFC flavored crisps, and you saw it in somebody else's basket, and they were just like, oh, I'm just gonna get some soup real quick, and as they're looking at the soup, you just went, I'll have those, and then you go and you check out because that's the only thing you wanted, and it was gone from your basket.
Breakdown.
Again, there are rules to society. We
managed not to do that during a global pandemic. Come on.
But for beers, totally acceptable.
I mean, actually, I say that, but I don't know. I don't know what was happening with the toilet roll. So
where that situation might have been. I go to Costco. I don't know. I stock up big daddy bags of toilet paper. So,
brilliant.
But yes, it's more efficient. So what we were getting to with the queuing was that I did put it out to Reddit to say, like, in terms of the US, queues, what are people's thoughts of people that have done it? Why do you do it? So somebody called DM Clone on the subreddit of craft beer, said a few thoughts. So based on their experience, they're from Iowa, been into craft beer for a long time. They said they witnessed it a lot firsthand. They said the longest I've stood in a queue has probably been about an hour, although it was sub-zero, so that didn't make it pleasant. So we British people would be like, oh no. First of all, it's that cold. We'd be like,
why have you even left your house?
I can't drive because the roads are messed up. Can't take the train because the trains are stopped. It's too cold for trains to run. It would never happen. But he did say the reason they stood in line was because a great local brewer was bottling 500 stouts. This particular stout was one I had before and really liked. It was for only $20 for a 750 ml. What else do I have to do on a Saturday morning? Mow the lawn. Well, probably not in sub-zero. But I understand the sentiment. I do understand the sentiment. Yeah. Yes. I did ask him later, or them. I don't know if it's I don't know who, but I said, how far away was that brewery from you? And they said about 10 minutes. So I get that. So that would be like me going to Siren to get something and being like, oh, there's a queue of a half hour or whatever. I'll just sit in the queue because it's something I really want. It's a limited release. Fine. If it was like further away, like some of these breweries, just no. Because he said, on the other hand, we have a brewer in the state that is known for making some of the best beer in the world. They used to drop off beer once a week at my local grocery store, and the 2 cases of bombers would be gone in minutes. Since then, they have greatly expanded, and you can find their beers all over Iowa and most of the Midwest. Their beer is still great, but there are more and more great local options, and people are always seeking out the next great beer. So yeah, they were just they were saying, the other one is a few hours away drive. And he said some people, this particular brewery he was talking about, said they make this one that's like 500 bottles that they put online, and it goes to the first 500 people that are willing to drive hours to get it and spend $100 on it. And I was just like, can you imagine driving like 2-3 hours away to spend £100? No, it just wouldn't happen, would it?
Because then you got to put petrol on there as well.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing that's very British, I think. I never started thinking about, if I drive from here to this brewery, you know, I could pay for delivery, but I could just drive and pick it up myself. In the US, I would never stop and go, well, how much is petrol on top of that? Am I better off just just getting it sent to me? Or, you know, here everybody's like, yeah, but you got to factor petrol in.
Well, I'm glad I've lived up to your British expectations.
It's very British thing to do. Somebody else was saying they'd queued at other half basically, and only for a short period of time, because by that point it's sort of, if you show up around a certain time, at that point the hype's over, and they started producing more beer, so that's not necessarily relevant anymore. So yeah, there's that. And then I got this comment which made me laugh, which was, reject hype beers and stupid high prices because a brewer knows he can artificially restrict supply, and hype nerds will stand in line for 5 days and spend $200 on a 4-pack, drink a Pilsner and relax. I probably wouldn't choose to drink a Pilsner and relax, so I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah. Hype
I don't quite agree with that sentiment overall, but what I agree with, I mean, it made me laugh. I mean, that's Reddit summed up in a comment, so it made me laugh. What I do sort of agree with, not so much about a brewer doing this in particular, but this artificial, it comes back to like that Goose Island thing, the artificially restricting supply and demand, which gives you the FOMO, which pushes that hype beer, I think.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's I feel like we've covered everything and anything hype beer. Any last thoughts from you?
I still don't like Verdant. Nothing against Verdant.
That's your final thought. Still don't like Verdant.
But you know, that's cool, because all you people that like Verdant, that's more beer for you. I'll take all the dark beers. Thank you very much.
I think this might be one of my first Verdants besides the Stout. This might be my first like dipper from them. And again, it's great. It's really good, but I don't have it next to another dipper to sit there and go, whose do I like more? I'm just tasting it in isolation against another one of its own. And I'm just like, yes, it's fine. It's good. I'd drink it again, but I don't know if I would only be willing to pay up to a certain price point for it.
No, someone can have mine next year. I'll let them.
I'd be interested, to be honest, to be completely transparent. I'd try it again next year, because I'd want to see what is the progression like of it.
Yeah.
And if it didn't really get any better, I'd probably go, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Just like, I can't be bothered to fight people for something that I think is fine. But yeah.
However,
so anyways,
this one from Vocation and Pomona is delicious.
It is really nice. So I think let's go finish our beers. We'll take our photos. You've got films to watch. You've got things to do. Thank you again to everyone that shared their experiences on my Instagram, on Reddit, and everything else like that. It's greatly appreciated. It's given us more insight into the hype beer world. If you haven't already, definitely reach out to us and let us know what you think about the hype beers, which one lived up to it, which one didn't. If you want to, I'm going to go first this time, Jo, because you've got so much more than me to plug. If you want to tell me about your hype beer experiences, if you want to tell me funny anecdotes, like you forgot you hated a certain style of beer because of how hyped up it was, that made me laugh. It was probably my favorite comment out of the bunch. Come find me on Instagram at adventures_in_optimism. Where can people find you to tell you their funny anecdotes?
So if you're a hype nerd and you want to come tell me that I'm wrong about Putty, it's cool. I'll let you have it next year. You can find me on my personal account,
Verdant fanboys and girls.
My personal account is A Woman's Brew. That is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you would like to come and try my beer school, we try lots of things that aren't dippers. That is Love Beer Learning. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok. We are all over it. We're everywhere. You can also find us on the website, lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Got a lovely blog there. Come and see the blog. Read some articles about beers. It's not going to be any Verdant in there. I apologise. Or you can email us.
Alienating us.
SARS.
I like Verdant. I like dippers. Don't listen to Joanne.
Send them to Tori. I'm a dark and sours girl. That's me. I'll take those. I'm not going to take your Verdant away. You guys can have.
I thought you were going
I
to say
will
I'm not
let
going to take
you.
your Verdant full
No, I'm not
stop.
going to take it away. You guys have it. Email us on lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. Tell us what other episodes you want to see. You can tell me if you want me to get the Verdant and I can send it to you because I'm not going to be drinking it. Lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. So on that note, that is us.
Cheers.